Hello, my fellow ferals. Today we are going to make a hat. I'm making it for my roommate, so I want it to be a surprise, so I have to find a way to inconspicuously grab her measurements for her head.
What the are you doing?
Measuring your head.
But why?
Don't worry about it.
That's not creepy.
Okay, so we're using this book that I got for Christmas. It's The Gentleman's Wardrobe, and we're making a newsboy cap, which apparently is called a flat cap. I did not know that. But the back of the book has all the patterns in it. So I'm going to be tracing the pattern out of this because I looked at it and all the patterns are kind of layered together and it's kind of confusing. So I'm just going to be tracing out the ball, not ball cap, the flat cap here. Okay, so this here is the pattern. Surely you can see what I'm talking about it being very confusing and everything just kind of being layered together. Um, I'm going to trace this out. Invested in some pattern paper, which I might not actually be able to see through this properly. Let's try the other side. Ooh, crap. Yeah, I have my glasses on now, so that should make things easier to see. Yeah, now I can actually see everything. Okay. Let me go ahead and cut here. Yeah, I invested in an actual pattern paper because I'm fat and they don't make tracing paper big enough to fit me. See, it's worked just fine for shirts, but I have a lot of ass and it was not working for pants. I need something to set it on, or to hold it in place rather. I'm making this according to the wrong size. It's supposed to be medium. So, oopsie. Okay, so from this point forward, I'm going to switch it to being dubbed because I want to listen to my audiobook because the quiet is killing me. So it might sound a little weird because I'm too lazy to actually go and get my microphone right now. Plus, my phone is on the charger, so I don't know how good the quality of this audio is about to be. I'm not redoing it if it sucks, so deal with it. But the audiobook I'm listening to is called 1916. It's about the Irish Rebellion, and it's boring. It's so fucking boring, but like I'm too stubborn to give up on it. I think I'm 5 hours in at this point, and it's like an 18-hour book. Uh, but I'm refusing to stop listening to it. I'm hoping it's gonna get interesting. I'm pretty sure it will get interesting at some point. If it doesn't, then I'm just gonna be really, really angry. Um, but I really wanted to read a book on the Irish Rebellion because they got, a lot of people to work together that wouldn't normally work together in order to, you know, create the rebellion. Um, and I thought it would be fascinating, and uh I thought it was going to be a history book, which I know it sounds weird that I would be more interested by a history book than I would a historical fiction. but I'm a weirdo like that. And if it were a history book, I would be a lot more interested in it than I am now. But I think I'm going to actually. I have a couple books saved. I'm gonna next read might be about the IRA, or is it? Yeah, I think pretty sure it's Irish Resistance Army, I think is what it's called. But yeah, it's definitely going to be the next one I have lined up, and it's an actual history book and not a historical fiction. I don't know what has me on this kick about Ireland, but I'm on it. Well, I do know what's on it. I'm researching for a book that I'm writing. Uh and it's going to have I don't want to give too much of the book away, and I don't want to give my concept away when it's in such an early stage. But long story short, there's going to be some people coming together to form an army or resistance. And so I've been reading a bunch of books on like guerrilla warfare and just war strategies, that sort of thing, so that I can write the best book possible that's has a realistic quality to it, you feel me? um but yeah, book's not super interesting, but I'm gonna finish it. I'm determined, and when I get determined to do something, I do it. Again, stubbornness. I'm trying to think of what else to say. uh hmm If you guys have any suggestions on books I should read, let me know down in the comments. Well, I'm not going to read them, I'm going to listen to them because I'm an auditory learner, and it's easier for me to pay attention if I'm listening to something than if I'm reading it. I haven't been able to actually read a physical book in years. Um, just because my attention span is that bad. But I used to just devour books. Like when I was in middle school and high school, like I'd read for hours straight. I think it was because it was a needed escape, and that's why I read so much when I was younger. Um and now I watch a lot of movies. Well, actually, you know what? I don't really watch movies. I just listen to a lot of music. Um but I'm getting back into learning things recreationally versus just what I'm learning in college, which college is going really good, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'm taking political science and public speaking currently. Um, I don't like either class, but I have to do a speech coming up, and I'm doing it on the nuances of gender and race in horror movies. So I might do a deep dive video on that, which I've never done a deep dive video before. But if I can figure out how to do like stock footage and that kind of thing, I'm definitely going to do it. But it may just end up being me sitting around talking, which, some people like that. Um, let's see. My God, I still have 2 minutes of silence to fill, and my mind is drawing a blank of what to talk about. Um, but I don't know. School's going good. I don't like either of my classes. Political science is such an interesting subject, but the class is so boring. Like, oh my God, it's so boring. Um, and I just, it feels like a propaganda class. And I actually met a political science I may have said this already, but I met a political science major, someone who majored in political science that had graduated and got their degree in it and everything. And something they said that kind of stuck with me is that what we learn is always through the lens of the elite. And that's why it feels like such a propaganda class to me, is, because we are viewing it through that lens rather than what is, we're viewing what is supposed to be. And I mean, it's been interesting, but it's not been interesting enough to keep me interested in it. I definitely don't want to go into any political field. Okay, so it's a new day, and I'm doing it with the sound on for this half, because I'm very frustrated that I recorded half of a day in the life video that was editing into a short, uh, and got it, you know, into into edit, and I edited it, and then I was like, well, I don't need this other footage. Also, we're doing the lining now, BTW. And I was like, okay, I don't need the other footage, so I deleted it. And I didn't realize that I was deleting the footage I just compiled and edited and compressed down. So today's not been great. I mean, otherwise it's been pretty fine. But yeah, pretty angry at myself for that one. And I had like just started a new workout routine, and I was so happy to get some footage that I deleted that too. The only surviving footage was the footage I uploaded uh by the time you see this, probably last week, but of my cats not letting me make the bed. That's all the surviving footage that I had from the entire ordeal. Oh wait, I don't need to cut any of this. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Yeah, I don't need to cut because it doesn't need lining. I should make notes on these. Well, damn, I just cut into this fabric for no reason. Do, however, need this right here. And this right here. I wonder if there's a way that I can somehow make that cut work for me. I still have not finished K-pop Demon Hunter, or is it Demon Slayer? Is it K-pop Demon Slayer or Demon Hunter? I can't remember. I still haven't finished it, but the songs have been stuck in my head of what I did see, and they are catchy. Also, they've been like all over YouTube shorts. Well, the ones that are about cleaning, anyway. Though I have not seen many cleaning shorts lately because everyone is talking about the Epstein files, which rightly so, just so we're clear. But yeah, so I just haven't heard any new songs lately because my entire feed is about that, and other stuff like we've apparently just bombed Iran, and like I'm a millennial, I've seen this movie, I know how it ends, it's not good. But America's got to get its oil. That was sarcasm. I just want to be very clear that I'm being sarcastic. Other than that, I had a really good day. It was my friend Heather's birthday today, and we went to go get Mexican food, which is why I'm wearing my taco shirt. So I got to go do that, and that was really fun, and I had a good time. Wish I could have stayed longer. We didn't have. I have a craft club every Monday, uh, where I meet with a group of friends, and we just you know parallel each other while we do our own crafts and sometimes talk. And it's really great when you're neurodivergent to have someone in the room with you while you're doing something. And I realize some people do this through YouTube. So if I'm being your parallel buddy right now, I am honored. But yeah, I had a really great time doing that. Trying to ignore the collapse of civilization, the usual. Although I do think about this quote from the horror comedy movie Cabin in the Woods. Great film if you haven't seen it. Someone says, society's eroding, and then the stoner guy in the movie, I can't remember anybody's name because it's been like 10 years since I've seen this, but the stoner guy is like, society isn't eroding, it's concreting itself into this horrible form or something like that. And I think about that a lot. Maybe society needs to collapse. Maybe that would be a good thing. Start over. Something new. I don't know. I just don't want to be in this situation anymore. Tired of living through major historical events. It's so hard to cut a curve. That was not a very good cut. I hope this comes out good. It was a lot easier to cut the denim than it is. This fabric's moving around on me. Yeah, that's shitty. Look at all that. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too damn bad. I remember going to see Holes when it first came out into theaters when I was a kid. Great movie. It's actually a really good adaptation of the book. Like, it's so close in accuracy to the book. The only difference is that they didn't make Stanley fat. But that was because the director, knew it wasn't going to be healthy for a kid to gain and then lose that much weight in such a short filming period. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you could have just used a fat suit, But overall, it's a good movie. I wonder what the actor who played Zero is doing these days. I had a crush on him when I was a kid, and I need to look up what he looks like now. Speaking of books, I'm still reading through that boring ass 1916 story about the Irish Rebellion. It's boring as fuck. It just kind of started getting interesting. Like, I'm kind of interested in it now. Like, the story is starting to get a little bit interesting. I'm hoping I'm in like chapter 30. It took till I'm in chapter 35. It took until chapter 35 to get a little bit interesting. If that gives you any example of how boring this book is. And yeah, so it's like a 18-hour audiobook, and I'm 12 or 13 hours in so far, and I'm too stubborn to give up at this point. I'm gonna see it through to the end. I did though recently read one of Angela Davis's books that was phenomenal. It was I can't remember if it's gender, race, and class or if it's women, race, and class. I can't remember the exact name of the title, which I should because I read it like 2 days ago. I listened to it for 8 hours straight. When I say I read, I mean I will listen to an audiobook. I don't have time to read. But yeah, it was phenomenal, man. It had me ready to just fight the system, man. So highly recommend. And well, really, I recommend anything by Angela Davis. She's a badass and has a ton of books out there. But the book is pretty much about how gender, race, and class all combine, and essentially, everything feeds into one another. Like, one of the reasons we have such prevalent racism problem is due to a class issue, such as continued propaganda by the wealthy to make poor people turn on other poor people based on race. And it's not just that, like, the thing about capitalism is it requires us. And in order to keep us, it promotes racism as a way to divide us. It also creates, well, I don't want to say it creates gender, but it does create a gender also divide to also divide us. I wrote something better. I might peek at what I wrote because I wrote a whole thing about it earlier that I wish I could like verbatim quote, because I was like, oh my god, you sound so smart when I wrote it, and now I just don't remember any of it. But essentially, I wish I could phrase it. Hold on, I'm actually going to pause it and read what I wrote and come back. Okay, I wrote a cheat sheet. So, what I was getting at is capitalism depends on workers who are uneducated. Therefore, it's in the best interest of capitalists to do things like ban abortion, eliminate birth control, anything that would come in between creating a new population. Capitalism also needs racism, sexism, xenophobia, and queerphobia to survive and thrive. It also needs association of morality to avoid being critiqued, which is why capitalism needs Christian nationality, or needs Christian nationalist, I should say. And Christian nationalism is founded in white supremacy. Therefore, it's in the interest of the capitalist to keep us divided. And capitalism requires racism not only because division is needed to survive, but because false superiority is a means of control. So it goes back to how indentured servitude ended. The slave owners looked around and they were like, these Irish immigrants we have as indentured servants, if they team up with all the black chattel slaves, they could overthrow us. And so they took the indentured servants and they were like, well, you guys are white, so you're better than these guys over here. So you don't need to, be an indentured servant anymore. We're done with that now. Also, these people want to kill you. So you got to make sure they don't do that. And you're going to want to fight in this war for us. Also, getting into, war is for profit, in essentially. So you need a constant threat in order to keep that money machine going. And anything that's labeled as a critique against our way of life, i.e., capitalism, is seen as a threat to American society, which is why we have so much propaganda in place about how socialism will never work, about how communism will never work, when in fact, fun fact, actual communism has never been implemented. And that's as defined by Marx. We've had Leninism, we've had Maoism, we've had the other ones that I can't remember the name of so far, but we have never had true communism. And there are those that like to say it doesn't sound good, it only sounds good on paper. But, like, have you ever actually put out what our current system sounds like on paper? It's the needs of these few assholes over here are better than the needs of everybody else. And they get whatever they want. And we sometimes can get what we need because they'll give us just enough of what we need to placate us. Because, like I've been saying, we're not dependent on them. They are dependent upon us. We put people in power, not the other way around. I don't actually know how this is supposed to go together. I'm just guessing. I don't want to read the book. I'm going to have to read the book, BRB. Okay. So, can you guys imagine how nice it would be to just be able to go to the doctor anytime you got sick? And it's so wild to me. There were so many articles when I was a kid about how Europeans live longer because they drink red wine. It's not because they drink red wine, it's because they can go to the doctor anytime they get sick. That's just another example of propaganda that we've been taught. And I'm not saying other countries don't have propaganda. I know they do. But, like, the US propaganda is on some other level. Because we know socialism will work because there's dozens of other countries that are first world countries that do it. You got damn near the whole of Europe that have socialized healthcare, can go to the doctor whenever they get sick, and not having to work like an insane amount of hours to survive. It's doable. We don't all have to struggle. Like, there should be time. It should not be work 24/7. There should be time for leisure and hobbies. There used to be. A lot of what messed us up goes back to Ronald Reagan. Like, at the time, it seemed really good. But, we know now, because we personally witnessed it, the trickle economics don't trickle. Because we used to have a lot more regulation on capitalism, which, by the way, that's what socialism is. It's just regulated capitalism. That's it. That's what it is. It's not everybody gets a bunch of free bullshit. It is a collective in which everybody works and everybody benefits from. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But no, everyone thinks that it's like there's just going to be a bunch of people getting a bunch of free shit. One, I don't give a bunch of people get a bunch of free shit. Okay? Um, it's a collective effort, is what people don't understand. And like, even now with food stamps, which I keep seeing this argument, and I don't know a way to respond to it because I don't have social media, but I keep getting screenshots from friends of this argument where someone will correctly tell you that you have to have an income to be on food stamps. And then someone will argue that, well, only 28% of food stamp recipients are tax eligible. And the thing is yes, that's true, but can you guess what the other percent is? It's the elderly, the disabled, and children. That's the rest of it. Apparently, I'm on my soapbox tonight because, man, and it just pisses me off. And it's like, so what if somebody gets food stamps? So what? Your life is not worse off for it. And that's not, you don't need to be focusing on the poor person at the bottom that can't afford food. You need to be worried about the top person at the tippy top that can have more food than they could ever consume in 100 lifetimes. That is what you need to worry about. Not little Betty on some food stamps. People have misdirected rage a lot, because, and the thing about it, when economic times are stable, it's not as divided as this. That's what I learned from sociology. I don't know if I'm going to be able to include a source because I don't remember the name of my textbook. But I did learn in sociology that when there are better financial times, there's less division. And the thing is, everyone's divided because they know something wrong. And we need to put aside the bullshit and look at the actual problem. I think people don't understand how much $1 billion is. Okay, just popping in real quick from the future. I did the math wrong, and it's actually $1 million is 1,000 million. So you could spend $1 million a year and not grow broke within your lifetime. Because I'm trying to think of exactly the exact numbers. I don't want to mislead anybody. I don't want to misspeak. But I feel like if you also did math wrong, bad at math, sorry about that. It's 12 million a year would be 80 years. It could be less than that. I will look it up because I don't want to misspeak. But it's ridiculous. Like, that is a disgusting amount of money to have. And I'm not envious of the rich. I do not want to be rich. I want to survive and have a quality of life. I would like to, be able to go out once a month out to eat and maybe get an appetizer. Those are my kind of dreams. Those are my kind of goals. And right now, I can't afford to do that. And nobody ever come at me with the get a better job rhetoric, because I'm fucking disabled and I'm a full-time college student right now, so I can't get a better job. And I'm trying to get off disability because this is another thing. If we had universal health care, people like me wouldn't have to be on disability. Because with health insurance and the medication I need, I am capable of working. But without the medication and help that I need, I can't work. And that's why I'm trying to go to college and get a job that will have insurance. And a lot of people aren't as privileged as me, and it's a cycle. You also can't get married if you're on disability. Fun fact. Well, SSI. I think SSDI is different, but most people who are disabled receive SSI and not SSDI. They're two different things. SSDI is if you've worked for a very long time, like a very long, like you're damn near retirement age to get SSDI, or you've worked an incredibly wealthy job. And like disability ain't shit. So I don't know, I don't understand why people are worried about fraud with it, because it's so little that there's no way to do fraud with it, because what somebody's going to get $400 a month? It's ridiculous. The SSI is not a lot of money. I make more than most people because I receive survivor's benefits, and I am very lucky to have those. But by no means do I have a luxurious lifestyle. If I didn't have a roommate, I would be homeless. But because I have a roommate and someone to split the bills with, I'm able to have a place to live. This doesn't feel right. Okay, I think we're ready to go to the sewing machine in just a minute, as soon as I pin the lining together. I don't know which of this is supposed to be the right side of the fabric, because on one side it looks like this, and on the other side it looks like that. And honestly, it could be either way. But yeah, people are worried about the wrong things. Because everything in this society leads back to money. Everything. There is not a thing in this society that does not lead back to money. But yeah, it'll be a cold day in hell before I trust a politician, even the good ones. Call me whatever you want, make fun of me however you'd like, but I want people to have a good quality of life no matter who they are. Like, I don't care if it's somebody that disagrees with me, I don't care. I want everyone to have a good quality of life, because I fundamentally believe everyone deserves food, everyone deserves water, and everyone deserves shelter. It is a basic human right. These are basic human rights. These are what's absolutely needed to survive. Everybody is entitled to these things. I wish George Carlin was still alive, because his routine on this would be fire. Well, that's somehow uneven. Okay, I somehow made that uneven, so I'm going to cut it. Okay, going to the sewing machine now. Okay, so the video ended up being like there's 2 hours after this that I haven't edited yet, but I saw the timestamp and it's 2 hours worth of footage. So I'm gonna break it up into two parts, and gonna go ahead and sign off for now. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, rant to me in the comments. um but yes, please like, subscribe, and share. It really helps me. And just, I would be very appreciative of any likes that I receive for the video. And I think most importantly, don't forget to stay chaotic. All right, bye.